Mohammed, the co-founder here, should be here as well. Really, really good questions come in from all you folks today. We're going to go through them one by one. And at the end, we'll take in some questions from the chat as well. Let's just give it a few more minutes so everyone pops in, and then we'll get started. Gaurav, just want to make sure you're here as well. All tech setup working fine. All right, beautiful. Got plenty of people now. So we got Mark in the house. I'm seeing Frank's in the house. Sarah as well. It's hardly the microphone wasn't that expensive, but it's a good one. I'm glad you guys can hear it fine. Louise, nice to meet you as well. Thank you so much. Okay, shall we get started, Gaurav? What do you think?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. Perfect. Let's go to some of the questions that have come in. So the first question that I'm seeing is, when can we expect workers to support different model GPUs in a single worker? Is there a technical barrier that would make a single worker with different GPUs non-compliant, in the sense that there are technical barriers or network barriers that are making this difficult to design? What do you think, Gaurav?
It's basically a tricky question, to be honest. Yes, can you have multiple GPUs in the same machine and use them for clustering? The answer is yes. But there are a few key factors which you have to consider when working with different GPU models, right? And as a company, we are here to make life easy, not complicated. There are a lot of users we see which come to our platform which are still new users. And for them, having these machines with multiple GPUs could be tricky. I'll give you a few examples, right? For example, if you have multiple GPUs on same machine, you may have compatibility of CUDA version issues, right? Different GPUs may support different CUDA versions. A newer GPU like NVIDIA A100 or H100 might require a different version of a CUDA than the older models, right? Similarly, there's a resource management issues. Having multiple GPUs allow you to distribute workload across them, but the performance is very different for these GPUs. So you need to, in your application layer, have a knowledge and intelligence to allocate the task differently. For example, a lower end GPU might struggle with the workload of a higher and more optimized workload. So is it practically possible? Yes. But will it be usable for a lot of people? The answer is no. For simplicity and the ease of use of the platform, we have never gone in a direction where we need multiple GPUs in the same machine. And that's why we are stuck up to a single GPU on machine for now. It's easier to create clusters. It's easier to use. It's easier to scale. If we actually see practically a lot of people applying for these cases, we may explore. But practically speaking, the demand of such machines have been far and few.
I think I've lost the answer. Maybe let's just give it a minute to rejoin.
Yeah. I don't think when he joins, I'll try to again reiterate the point. These are one of those cases where practically, theoretically, it's possible, but practically it's not a good idea to do, because majority of the people will not be able to use such a machine in a very efficient way.
Yeah. Sorry, you talked about my expensive microphone and you jinxed it.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I can hear you.
Oh, we can hear you.
Can you say something real quick? I want to make sure I'm getting your audio.
Yeah, I can hear you. When your expensive microphone works, it really works.
Okay, it looks like I'm not getting the audio. 1 second, folks.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, I think it's just an issue on the other side.
Anyone, but you can hear me. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go into the next question, and I'm going to try to figure out the technical bits in the background. So Hopefully, Gaurav, you answered the first one. The second question that I'm seeing is, after filling tickets, I still haven't gotten the accrued rewards.
For which month? Because we've actually closed on predominantly all the tickets which were there for all the eligible users who were proven true. They've already gotten the amendment airdrop and they've gotten the money. So if they can be more specific which one they're talking about, by mistake are they thinking the September block rewards that would be going out tonight? I was literally working on them before coming on the call here. I'm not sure which month are they talking about. Yeah, September block rewards will go tonight. Yes, guys.
Look at the cluster tab on the IO homepage. It says that someone is renting GPUs. And then, is it being incinerated? If it's not already being incinerated, when will the token be incinerated?
I don't understand what exactly this question is when he's saying it's incinerated. Are they talking about whether this particular hardware is rented? Are we getting the tokens for this? Not sure. It looks like one of our Mandarin speaking fellows have translated and put the question. So somewhere the Google Translate has done its magic. Seems like I've seen this in past also. So I'm extrapolating here from this question. Normally, when we hire the cluster, yes, the money is already paid for it when the hardware is getting used, and once the cluster is completed, then the respective money for the usage of your hardware will be accrued to your account also. So we already charged the cluster before it gets started. If anyone else, if the person who asked this question is in the chat here, can he reiterate the question? It'll really help. Or if somebody else in the group understood the question, more than happy to take another stab at it. Yasser, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, I think I'm not entirely sure the full context behind that question. Same as you, Gaurav. I think you probably answered it as best as we could understand from the information provided.
Yeah.
I think Yasser said he was going to reset the PC, so he might be a few more seconds.
Also, can we actually take the question list from Yasser and start asking?
Yeah, I was trying to pull that up right now. I actually have it here, so maybe I could just kind of read it out and you can answer. Yes, okay. So the next question is about 30 series NVLink support. So this particular question is, I've seen NVLink support for enterprise cards, but did not see NVLink support for consumer grade cards. I personally have a few cards connected with NVLink Bridge and would like to be able to offer a wide range of CPU computing memory to the IO pool if it still allows consumer grade cards to contribute in this manner.
So it's a very interesting question because I have played with this myself in past. So basically, while NVLink works great with enterprise grade GPUs, using it with the consumer grade 30 series card do present some challenges. These consumer cards are built for basically like sustained and high load tasks. And while they can be connected via NVLink, the performance gains which you will get if you do it with the consumer cards will not justify the amount of money and time you will spend setting up all these things. Normally, what we need is a consistent high throughput performance, and the consumer GPUs could become a bottleneck. And especially if you're putting up the effort of the NVLink and all, it's not worth the effort, honestly. Enterprise grade hardware like A100 basically provide you the scalability and reliability we require for serious computing. So if you're looking for the consumer grade hardware, they have their users. But if you start to set up with the NVLink and all, like in my personal opinion and the testing we have done in past, it's not worth the money and the time spent for setting it up with the consumer cards. Like we didn't see the numbers going good for them on a consistent high throughput test at our end.
Hey, Ralph, can you hear me? Just want to make sure.
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Your answer was so good, my whole PC crashed. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, so we actually just finished up question 4, so I think we're ready to move to the work and statement third section.
Beautiful. Let's do it. So the question I'm seeing is, if my device was down for 48 hours, will I lose my network seat?
No, you will not lose your network seat for now, honestly. But guys, like there's one thing you should understand, that we as a team are held against a very high standard, and now we are basically growing very fast, and this comes up with a lot of responsibilities, right? Like for instance, I made a X post recently that we had one of our customers who was taking a small amount of GPUs, and now they'll basically hire 10 to 15% of the network. And you will see those clusters being deployed and used from literally today, right? So what that means? That means for us is there are enterprise companies which are coming and starting to use our hardware. And our usage is slowly increasing 20%, 30%, 40%. And I really think that within a quarter, we'll be 50% and up going forward, right? Easily. And when we go to that level, we cannot afford our hardwares going down for 48, 50 hours. Because all these enterprise companies expect a 99% and up uptime overall, right? So when we are growing as a company, we will be held accountable for business standards. Right now, if your hardware is down for 48 hours, will you be thrown out of the network? The answer is no, because we have fallback hardware right now to go to. But as and when our usage keeps going high, which we practically see right now that we are doing good business, our revenue is growing exponentially. Very soon, in few months, we will not be able to afford a 48-hour downtime in the network, because these hardwares will be hired by enterprise companies and they will not be happy if a specific hardware is down 48 hours. At that time, we as a network will become a bit more aggressive in hardware, keeping up with more high standards of performance, their network speeds, their uptime, and so on and so forth. Yeah, good for now, but very soon it will not be good enough. And to be honest, guys, this comes with the territory. When you are basically becoming bigger, you're becoming popular, the enterprise companies start to use you, they will hold you accountable for your standards.
The next one that I'm seeing is it possible to filter the active and inactive devices on the worker side and also put the active ones on top?
That the filter already exists. I think whoever is using it, I think they haven't explored it enough. Please feel free to drop a message on X to me. I can help them find that filter. I think you can ask in the community also in Discord. I think people know this filter already. Somebody can help you in the community.
Beautiful. will there be a rewarded staking pool in the future? And if so, any estimated time frame for this?
Sorry, your voice dropped at my side. I think it's my network issue. Can you repeat the question, please?
A rewarded staking pool in the future? And if so, any estimated time frame on this?
So we already do reward people when they stake, right? We have by default, staking has come with a definition that the hardware have to stake and then only they'll get the block rewards. So by default, we are doing it. In fact, we have gone ahead and beyond a level that whoever staked in the first week, they got double the block rewards. So we almost we gave them a lot of bonus almost. And we are launching the staking phase 2. The development work for that is almost complete. I think we will be seeing development done by the end of this week. And then it'll be out for security and testing and all with the third parties. And once that is done, people who are not owning the workers will also be able to stake and earn the block rewards. But till now, we're already giving block rewards and rewards to people who are staking. In fact, we have given the bonus also. And by the end of this month, when the phase 2 is totally launched and available to everyone, even the non-workers will be able to go stake and earn the block rewards. And I'm maybe deflating some people, but to be honest, I think we have done such a good job that we are basically seeing every supplier literally staking the full amount and not giving anybody a space to go stake and earn the rewards. But I think we are figuring out some ways where once we launch phase 2, people are able to go stake and earn the rewards.
Staking, Gaurav. The next question is about any plans to open additional staking.
I think I answered this question already as a part of the earlier question. So as part of phase 2, we will allow more people to stake, even if they are not owner of the workers. That's the plan in phase 2. So the exact date.
Yeah, some of the questions coming over.
We're planning it. Somebody messaged in the chat when staking phase 2. From our side, the date is by this Friday. Development is done. They're actually already done. We're doing some last level testing in development team, and our date is internally this Friday. So this Friday, we will give our whole deployment and code base to the third party security team. Normally, they take anywhere from 7 to 10 days to complete their testing. And if there is any feedback, then we take few days to fix it up. So practically, you can imagine by the end of this month, phase 2 will be there for people.
Questions around that coming in. And if you've answered this, let me know, Gaurav. But the next question is, when will non-workers be able to stake in their IOs?
Same, by the end of this month, when the phase 2 is launched. Somebody asked when to expect documentation. Good question. I think documentation doesn't need to wait. I have taken a note of it. I'll make sure that before the launch in next week, we have some documentation out for this for people.
Claim total block rewards and total job earnings.
Yeah, so can you repeat the question, please?
Question, I'm not even sure it's a question, that just says, I can't claim total block rewards and total job earnings.
I have, not sure they're marked as suspicious or what's happening with their account. No idea. I think it'll be helpful if they can share their account details, or maybe if they've already cut a support ticket and they can share a support ticket to us. I think we can take a specific action and we can do some deeper insights into that case.
Okay. Is there a mechanism to notify when a worker stops operating? And if not, is one planned for the future?
Yes. So we are basically creating a notification system at our end. It's one of the quarterly goals we have in the dev side. We are getting a lot of use cases where people must be notified if something is happening. Maybe a state of their workers is changing, or let's say by mistake if somebody unstaked. Especially when we are coming up with a use case of co-staking, right? At that time, if somebody helped you with co-staking, and what if they unstake? How will it impact you? So we have taken care of it. I see someone asking this question also, that what if somebody co-stake with me and they unstake? What will happen to my rewards? So don't worry, we have taken care of those kind of cases. Whenever somebody co-stakes, they will have to unstake for 1 week extra. In normal unstaking, you get 2 weeks, and in that case, you will get a week extra. So I'll share the documentation. You will get more details on it. But rest assured, we have taken care of it. And especially for these kind of use cases where somebody removes the co-staking, your hardware goes down, and all these things, we do need to send notifications to the suppliers and to the users. So we have taken a KPI on us to create a notification platform in IO, and I think within this quarter it will be live. You guys will see emails and SMSs going to the both suppliers and users going forward.
Next question I'm seeing, when using IO Cloud, I noticed that my assigned device was using 90% of the CPU, even though it was idle. Are there plans to eliminate or filter out low quality devices?
Yes, I think we discussed it in last AMA as well. So you will basically see that all these hardwares, where they're trying to be a bit smart, that we have rented you a GPU, not the CPU. My GPU is 0%, but CPU, see, you never claim that like CPU can be used, hence I'm using it. Like, I think we'll officially be sending notification to these users, and the score which we count for the quality of the hardware, the quality score we have for the hardware, all these hardwares will be marked as low in those scores, and slowly and steadily these guys will be moved out of the network. And anytime we see that a particular hardware has a high number of CPU without being used, be it part of cluster or without the cluster, those particular hardwares are marked in the background, and their probability of being part of a cluster goes lower, and beyond a threshold, they're moved out of the network. This is one of the metric we are basically noticing and counting in our valuation score.
I'm seeing a question around the block rewards for September and when they will be distributed.
So September block rewards will go tonight. You can expect in next 2 to 3 hours to go out. That will be for the month of September. Then in the first week of November itself, you can basically expect the month of October going out. And then bi-weekly for the first month, you will see block rewards going out. And then in the month of December, you will see weekly. So I'll repeat again. Today, it will be month of September. First week of November will be October. We'll try to give it even sooner, but practically we are aiming for a date of 1st of November, first week of November. Whole November month itself will be bi-weekly, and from December, it will be weekly.
IO Nation is loving that news. Okay, good to hear. So we'll get into some of the questions about network growth and scalability next. So I've got a question. How does IONet cater to the needs of commercial users looking for decentralized infrastructure solutions? Dal?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one. So I think this kind of fundamentally just gets to the heart of what IONet's mission and what the fundamental service that we offer, right? So in terms of what we're providing commercial users, so we as a platform provide decentralized GPU solutions for all the commercial users and developers out there. So any AI ML developer or startup or enterprise or research lab can essentially come to our platform, explore the various GPU options available, and quickly deploy a cluster for their use case, right? So fundamentally, we act as kind of a decentralized alternative to all of the centralized incumbents out there for cloud solutions, such as your AWSs and Google Clouds and Microsoft Azures of the world. So most of the commercial users coming to us for GPU compute are typically looking for an alternative for some of those centralized infrastructure solutions. And, that could be for a variety of reasons, whether it's on the dimension of like price and cost. We're obviously a lot cheaper than AWS and Google Cloud and all those guys, or it could be in terms of sort of availability and flexibility as well, which from our decentralized infrastructure and architecture, we can offer a much better optionality for our commercial users through that as well. So I think fundamentally kind of from a lot of our commercial users, when they come to us looking for a decentralized infrastructure solution, like that's sort of the type of needs that they're looking to have met.
Next question I'm seeing is around integration. The question is, I have an AI app. How can I connect and integrate my app into IONET?
Yeah, so I think this one's a little bit broad, right? But I think sort of like the mechanics of it all are pretty similar. So yeah, kind of as I was just talking about in terms of, like how a lot of commercial users come to us as an alternative to centralized cloud service providers. Like IONET's cloud platform works very similarly to some of those major cloud service providers, right? In terms of kind of developer experience and sort of like how the platform itself can be incorporated into a developer's workflow, specifically when you're developing kind of an AI/ML app or agent. So for any particular AI app that wants to leverage the compute power of IONET, they can essentially go on the platform, quickly deploy a cluster with specified the amount of compute and GPUs that they need and integrate it to power their LLM or AI workloads on the back end. So typically we kind of see, kind of an AI app, calling something an AI app can be pretty generic and high level, but with some of the sort of like use cases and workloads that we've seen being used by various AI/ML developers and startups, has essentially been sort of all across the AI/ML tech stack, right? So we've seen customers who want to train foundational models on IONET, or we've seen customers who also have wanted to run inferencing workloads for either open source models or their own models that they've trained proprietarily, and for a variety of modalities, right? Whether it's text to text, like whether it's like text to image gen, text to video gen, kind of a variety of inferencing workloads there. We've also seen people who've pulled leading open source models off of platforms like Hugging Face and want to fine tune it using our GPUs to kind of make it more suited for their AI app use case, whether it's for like a specific vertical or industry specific use case. So I think there's a variety of different ways that people have been, using IONET compute resources and integrating it into their AI apps and workflows.
Thank you, Tal. And this next one coming up is a lot more specific. So give me a bit to read this question out. So it asks, I would like to know the difference between managed service and self-service clusters that I can join. For example, if an individual purchases an H100 or A100 and joins the network, I would like to know if there is a possibility of him or her joining the cluster of partnerships, such as Leonardo AI, that the sales team is developing as a worker. I understand that the partnership clusters developed by the sales team is a managed service, and self-service workers cannot participate in the cluster. Is that correct?
Yeah, so this is a great question, and I think it's good to kind of clarify this as well. So typically for a lot of the workers and community members who are joining our platform as workers and are offering up their compute services as a worker on our platform, their compute resources are typically being leveraged for their self-service cluster deployments, right? Like whenever anyone who's an AI/ML developer wants to come onto our platform and deploy a cluster themselves, like they can go on and select from the entire network of worker GPUs and CPUs that we have on our platform. And I think everyone kind of understands that model, and it's pretty self-explanatory. I think the confusion here is kind of coming from the use of the term managed service, which we've put on our platform too as a additional inbound lead source, and essentially kind of a way to sort of meet needs that weren't currently being met by our platform for our customers, right? So typically, these managed service deals are ones that they essentially are dealt with by our team on a case-by-case basis, right? So, and specifically what we've seen kind of happen is customers reach out to us for a very specific use case and very specific needs or specs or requirements for their machines, the location, the bandwidth, the networking, the storage, like a variety of different things that aren't necessarily sort of like quickly or easily be able to be like self-deployed currently. And these needs are kind of above and beyond sort of the current capabilities or filters that are available to our platform today. So these are ones, for a sufficient deal size or for really important strategic customers, we will kind of take this in a separate format and essentially kind of figure out how we can best meet that customer's need. And we typically reach out to our network of workers and suppliers, who are part of our platform already, who can support these highly technical and specific use cases on a deal-by-deal basis. So essentially, if you have your worker on the platform, you are always being considered for even these managed services clusters, given that the machines that you're offering and the specs that you're offering meet the specific needs of whatever the customer is looking for.
Expand on any new potential partners or clients expected for October. A question came in. They were asking, they see a lot of H100s rented and they were curious about potential partners.
Yeah, good question. So I'm sure as you guys have seen, the total network earnings on the Explorer are continuing to grow exponentially. And we're continuing to see a lot of organic demand for our compute resources across the AIML industry. So yes, we have a number of partner and customer opportunities in the works currently. A number of these customers and partners are already deploying in our network and using GPUs already for a variety of those workloads that I mentioned earlier for training, inferencing, fine-tuning, things like that. And they're doing so prior to even any announcements being made, right? It's like the need for those GPUs is so high that that they want to just get in there and kind of use those compute resources immediately before we kind of really make any plans for investments or things like that. So yeah, we're working really closely with our marketing team to kind of build out that pipeline of partnership and customer announcements. You'll be hearing soon from our team on some of those new logos and partners coming on board to IONET. And I think secondly, a lot of our demand has also been driven by some of our existing partners and customers that we've announced and shown to the market who are using IONET GPUs already. So as our customers and partners scale up on their side and as their AI workloads increase, their experience with IONET has been so positive that they've actually been increasing the share of their compute estate with IONET as well, right? So as their AIML apps and workloads increase, they've been correspondingly increasing how many GPUs that they're using from IONET. So a lot of the demand has also been driven by some of our existing relationships and partnerships that we've developed over the past few months.
Guys, in short, I'm telling you, Tausif and his team is literally killing it. Like, you will see the revenue literally explode in the coming time. If you go to the network today, you will see some big clusters being created, and that's just a start. I think the network usage is going to explode in the coming time. All the deals which we had done in past 2-3 months were of a smaller size, because in this business, the customers always come, try your hardware a few days, and then give you a bigger deal based on the experience. And the experience of our customers have been great. Like almost all the customers which we had, like 70 to 80%, are returning back with like order of magnitude bigger demands. So like Tausif and his team has like literally killed it in their KPIs. So you'll see big numbers coming pretty soon. In fact, from today itself, you can check.
I appreciate
thanks
that, Gaurav. More to come for sure. More to come.
We're getting a lot of questions about the lovely XP bot. We've got one in the chat as well, and that was going to be my next question as well. Gaurav, are you able to speak to that? When will the XP bot be back up again?
I think it's the right person to say it is in the marketing side, honestly. They'll be the best person to comment on it.
Got it. We're also getting questions about rewards here. So when will the IO rewards earned from events?
Milan is missing here. If anybody from marketing team can answer,
Milan, okay.
I'll make sure that I note down this question and get back with the answer to the community later.
Those questions down. Let's do one last question, and then we'll do questions from the live chat. So if you've got some questions, please do leave them below, and we'll address them in a bit. So the final question I'm seeing is about user experience. So, Gaurav, you mentioned in a post of yours that the percentage of workers getting jobs will increase by 10 to 15%, which is great. Can more information be shared about this employer? Also, it's a nice step that Gaurav has started using X, and some updates are coming from there.
I think the right person, I'll not steal the lightning of Tosif and Tosif's hard work. So I think who's the customer, the demands and all, I think Tosif is the right person to comment on it personally. And thanks a lot for the feedback for using X. Honestly, we literally had, the whole team had their heads down building the product. So we normally we're not very frequent and commenting on X that much because we don't even know when our day starts and when it ends. We're so busy, but we are basically seeing the fruits of all the hard work we have done. So we thought that it's a good time to start going to the community and start communicating that all your patience is bearing fruits. And thanks a lot for all the support. Tosif, do you want to share about the deals which are happening right now?
Yeah. I think in terms of sort of our existing pipeline and kind of some of the customers that we're working with, I think we talked about a little bit in that previous question that I answered, right? I think there's a variety of new customer opportunities and partners that they'll be announcing in the next few weeks, and then also an expansion of some of our existing customers who were dipping their toes in the water with IONET and testing out some of our GPUs and running proof of concepts with what we were doing. And as Gaurav, as you mentioned, since they've been pretty satisfied with their experience and really happy with the service that they've gotten from IONET, they're continuing to expand their usage of their GPUs, right? So I think, as a consequence of that, a lot of our workers and community members who are providing GPUs to our network will start to see the benefits as the utilization of the network increases. A lot of those GPUs start to get rented and start getting jobs and start earning even more. So so kind of as I mentioned, a lot more things coming down the pipeline. I think you'll see the utilization of our network along with our total network earnings continue to grow exponentially going forward.
Guys, one more thing, I wanted to just give a quick thing. So we are basically moving all our revenue on chain in Q4. So any deal which will happen, we'll move everything on chain. And there were some people who were asking where the revenue is coming from and all those things. So to basically give the whole transparency and visibility, we literally don't have anything to hide. We'll move all our revenue and everything on chain in Q4. And I think Milan is out this week on vacation. A lot of these deals, we're basically creating a marketing thing for it. And I think once he's in, we'll start to share on X about all these deals which are happening. So money-wise, these deals have already started. Technically, the clusters have already been started. But the marketing piece of it, I think, will happen soon once Milan is back on X and other forums. And there were some questions on the revenue and the visibility. So we've heard you. We've taken the feedback. We have taken a KPI on the tech team to move all the transactions of our revenue on chain for more visibility going forward.
Okay, with that, let's take some questions from the chat. Gaurav, Tosif, are you seeing any questions that you'd like to answer from the chat? Lots of good questions coming in.
There's one question here. Just now you mentioned that you will remove poor quality hardware. How do you define a poor quality? We actually have a formula. I think it's a good idea to share the formula maybe, although we are like enhancing it every week. But in short, your uptime, your stability when you're added to the network and the cluster, especially, your network speed, like these are the major factors which play in the quality of the hardware. And along with that, when you basically become part of the clusters, how's your CPU and GPU without being used? Right? Like these are the main factors which are playing the part of the quality of the hardware. The uptime, network speed, the stability once you're part of the cluster, and your performance of CPU and GPU once you're part of the cluster. In fact, without part of the cluster also, this is there. And obviously the other factors, which is how, like what's your pass rate for proof of work and VRAM tests and so on and so forth. If basically you're failing a very high number of proof of work and VRAM tests, meaning you're either using your hardware in parallel or you're not representing your hardware correctly what it is, in that case also you will be marked as a poor quality hardware and you most probably will be moved out of the network.
Let's take two more.
Yeah, I think there's a good one here from Tommy NDQ about considering the low demand consumer GPUs, likely due to prices being too high, would you be open to introducing temporary discounts for bonuses to increase our usage? IO workers already have the advantage of earning clock rewards, meaning they can afford to accept lower rental rates, which could stimulate more activity on the platform. This could be an effective way to drive adoption and increase overall platform usage. So yes, I think this is a really, really great question and very thoughtful, right? And I think it actually kind of aligns a lot with sort of how we're thinking about our overall strategy of network growth and increasing utilization as well. So I think obviously with the release of block rewards and kind of like the success of how that's been accepted by the community and how that's been rolled out, I think we're starting to look at different economic models on how exactly to drive greater utilization of the network using sort of like the tools that are available to us in our tool belt and, our sort of crypto economic incentives that exist. So I think this is something that, it's actually like twofold things, right? So consumer GPUs are actually starting to go through quite a renaissance, especially on the 40 series cards, like NVIDIA 4090s. We're actually starting to see a lot more demand coming in. And, kind of as I was referring to some of the deals that we're closing and getting onto the platform, you'll start to see demand for the 4090s especially start to increase significantly because there is actually a lot of demand out there in the market for that we're starting to get. But the second point on, playing around with prices and how IO workers are paid, I think this is something we're actively exploring internally on how best to structure to make sure all parties are satisfied, and also we're able to offer the most competitive pricing for our customers and ensure that IONET is a leader in the marketplace in terms of pricing for these consumer GPUs. So it's a really great question, Tommy. I think this is something that we're actively considering internally, and you'll start to see some announcements and sort of like strategic insights and changes from our side in the near future as we kind of think more about this.
Okay, let's take one final question. Ralph, Dosif, if you find anything, let me know.
So there's one interesting question that somebody said, considering the low demand for consumer GPUs likely due to prices being too high, would you be open to introducing temporary discounts or token bonuses to increase the usage, IO workers and all? I think there is a case where some of the hardwares are a bit costly. So we are basically looking into reducing the price of it. And honestly, we literally took a look today that some of the hardwares, for example, A4000, was earning lower block reward than actually it should compared to some of the other hardware. So I've taken a task on the tech team to look into both of these things. One, some of the hardware which are not being paid that well. And second, for some hardware where block rewards are low, we will basically take a stab at both of them this week. Hopefully by next AMA, at least we would have solved one of them. Hopefully. So we have noted it. We are actively working on this problem.
Perfect. Gaurav, Thasif, just want to make sure, is there anything else that's catching your eye in the live chat before we close?
Nope, not from my end.
Thasif?
No, I think that pretty much covered it.
Good. Okay, fantastic. Well, IO Nation, thank you so much for attending today. And Asif and Gaurav, as always, thank you for being so informative and detailed with your questions today. Next week, we'll be doing our AMA on X, and we should also have Tori Green, IONET CEO, back in attendance. We're really excited to see you there, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Bye.